Welcome back to the deep dive. This is where we take the spec sheet, we basically rip it up, and we look at what really matters when you're actually driving a car every single day.
And today we're focused on the Togg T10F EV.
That's right. And our mission today is super specific, thanks to some notes one of our listeners shared.
Yeah, they wanted us to get way past the marketing hype. No pretty pictures, no theoretical range numbers.
None of that.
Just two things that define whether an EV is actually usable: passing power and how efficient the DC fast charging really is.
So the key question is, does the T10F deliver that power when you really need it? And is the charging fast enough to actually make a difference on a road trip?
Right. Or is this a classic case of great tech on paper that just doesn't hold up in the real world because of heat or, a clunky user interface?
No, we have some excellent data for this. This isn't from a lab.
No, this is from an intense test. We're talking 5 full throttle back-to-back launches on a drag strip. And then immediately after that, plugging it into a DC fast charger to analyze the charging curve. It's designed to just completely stress the cooling system.
Okay, so if you appreciate us digging into this kind of detail for you, please remember to support the show. It lets us keep diving deep like this. So let's start with acceleration.
And can we just agree right now to ban the 0 to 100 time from this conversation?
Yes, absolutely. It's so meaningless for a daily driver, isn't it?
It's a marketing tool. It's a party trick, sure. But when are you ever launching from a dead stop at full power in, rush hour traffic?
Never. It tells you nothing about how the car feels when you're already at highway speed and need to get around a truck.
Precisely. And that's why we have to focus on the metric that actually matters: 80 to 120 kilometers per hour. That right there, that's passing power.
That's what keeps you safe.
That's what keeps you safe. Merging onto a motorway, passing someone on a 2-lane road, that's the number.
And based on the data, the T10F really delivers here.
Yeah.
That all-wheel drive version,
Yeah.
the instant torque, it just, as the notes say, snaps your head back.
It is, it's exhilarating. But we have to look past that initial thrill, Power is only useful if you can actually control it.
Right. And I was really struck by the notes on the different drive modes. It's a common complaint with EVs, isn't it? All this power, but the delivery is just crude.
It's a well-founded critique here. The drivers found that sport mode was, and I'm quoting, too sharp.
Too sharp.
Yeah, potentially jerky in traffic. You know that feeling where every tiny input makes the car lurch, you get tired of it really fast?
Well, sport mode is basically for an empty back road or a track day.
Pretty much. But, and this is a key thing, the response settles down nicely in normal mode.
Okay.
So it becomes practical. You get all that power on tap, but without the twitchy throttle that makes you crazy in town.
Right, now for the real stress test. This is what separates the good engineering from the great engineering. 5 back-to-back launches.
This is the test that tells you if a car is a one-trick pony or a real performance EV. If the cooling is bad, the heat builds up, and the car just protects itself by cutting power.
You'd see the times just fall off a cliff.
Completely. By the 3rd or 4th run, you'd be seconds slower. It completely kills your confidence in the car.
So what did the test reveal about the T10F?
This is the most impressive finding, really. The car held its power remarkably well.
Okay.
The data shows it only dropped a few tenths of a second by the 5th run.
A few tenths. That's it.
That's it. And that is a stellar result. It tells you the cooling loops, the actual fluid circuits moving heat away from the battery and motors are doing their job incredibly well.
So it's actively managing that heat to prevent the power fade you see in other EVs.
Exactly. It means that passing power is always there for you, even if you asked for it again and again. The car is consistent.
That thermal management is a perfect transition because heat is everything when it comes to DC fast charging. Let's talk about the part everyone hates.
The charging station experience.
Yes, sitting there, watching the speed just plummet after 10 minutes.
It's the worst. The car says it can charge at, say, 180 kilowatts, but it only does it for 2 minutes before slowing to a trickle to protect the battery.
So let's detail the test here. Did the T10F hold its speed?
The setup was pretty standard. They plugged it into a 180 kilowatt charger, and they started at a very low 10% state of charge, or so say.
Right, which is the ideal condition to see how fast it ramps up.
It ramped up quickly, yeah. But like you said before, the real test isn't the peak speed. It's how long it can hold that speed. That's what gets you back on the road.
And the outcome here was actually really positive.
Very positive. Unlike so many EVs that drop their charging speed off a cliff once they hit 50%, the T10F held a really high rate of charge all the way to about 70% SOSI.
That is huge. That means a quick stop is actually a quick stop.
That's the real-world value right there.
A
20-minute coffee break actually gives you meaningful range. You're not just topping off a few percent. You're adding serious miles because the car is holding that
That sounds almost too good to be true. As every EV owner knows, there's always a catch, isn't there?
There is, and this is the major caveat. The car's performance depends entirely on the driver knowing how to work the system.
The user experience hurdle. So the car can do it, but you have to ask it in just the right way.
You do. It all comes down to the battery temper. If the battery is cold, say first thing in the morning, the charging speed will be significantly lower.
Because the chemistry of a cold battery just can't accept that much power safely.
Exactly. The car has to protect the cells. And this leads to the mandatory step. I might even call it a chore.
Uh-oh.
You must precondition the battery using the car's built-in navigation system.
So you have to tell the car you're going to a charger.
Yes. You have to select a charger as your destination in the car's nav. Only then will it start warming the battery pack to the optimal temperature for fast charging.
So let's play this out. You're on the highway, you see a sign for a charger, you pull up and plug in. You didn't use the car's navigation. What happens?
You'll be sitting there wondering why it is slow. You'll completely miss out on that amazing charging curve we just talked about because the car wasn't ready.
It's a totally different philosophy than some other cars that just do it automatically in the background. With the T10F, it's a solid performer, but you have to be an active participant. That step is non-negotiable.
That's the perfect way to put it. The hardware is excellent, but activating its peak performance is on you, the driver. It forces a very specific habit.
Okay, let's tie this all together. The Togg T10F has excellent thermal management. That's the big win. It gives you consistent passing power even when you push it hard.
And we know that truly fast, sustained charging is possible. It holds a high speed all the way to 70%, which is fantastic for road trips.
But both of these things, the acceleration and the charging, they rely entirely on that sophisticated thermal management system.
Yes, and that brings us to our final thought for you to consider. Since the T10X best charging performance is locked behind a mandatory user action, using the navigation to precondition, does that forced technical habit make the experience better or worse?
Right. Is it better than a system that's maybe a little slower but handles everything automatically in the background?
Yeah.
You get peak performance, but you sacrifice that seamless, thoughtless convenience.
It's a trade-off.
It is. And that's the real question. We hope this deep dive gave you a clear picture of the T10F strengths and its quirks. Don't forget to like, comment with your thoughts on that preconditioning question, and subscribe so you don't miss the next one.
We'll see you next time.